Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Coach Marty Gaal, USA Triathlon Coach and a certified strength and conditioning specialist. And this week I would like to talk about single sport focus. So we're going to talk about a few scenarios and then the best time of the year or the best time of the season for most people to focus on a single sport within triathlon. So scenario one is for a new triathlete that's getting into it. The vast majority of newer triathletes do not have extensive swimming experience. So for that reason, it is a good thing for newer triathletes without a deep swim background to focus quite a bit on their swimming as they're getting into triathlon training, to the point where maybe they're de-emphasizing running and cycling. And there's a very important, significant reason for this, and that is safety. Swimming is often done in overhead depth, and we need to feel comfortable and confident in our ability to swim 1.2 or 2.4 miles, right? So, most of the athletes that I'm dealing with are doing 70.3s or 140.6 Ironman events. If you were just training for sprints in the pool, maybe you can get away with not focusing a lot on the swim. But if you're coming into the sport and you are a weak swimmer, I would say it would be a good idea for you to focus quite a bit on swimming in the initial months of your overall training. Let's say you're training for a half Ironman at the end of the season. The first 3 months, maybe you swim 3 or 4 times a week just to get over that hump, to get comfortable, to get confident, to feel secure in your ability to swim a long distance without taking too many rest breaks. So, for that reason, I'd say focus on the swimming, even if you have to de-emphasize biking and running and even strength training so that you can get it done. Now, for everybody else, let's say you've been involved in the sport for a handful of years and you're now trying to figure out, how do I jump to the next level in various things? The best time of the year to focus on running, in my opinion, is going to be the fall and the winter. It's shorter sunlight hours, so you're not going to be riding outdoors as much, and it's a good time of the year to really just load up on the running miles. So at the end of your season, most of us are going to end in September, October. Some people might push it to November with a couple events out at that time. But, you take a handful of weeks off, or just very easy where you're not training for anything in particular. But then you could spend 3-4 months where you're really focusing in on your run training. I like to suggest to my athletes that they could focus on either a half marathon or a full marathon, depending on their ability and the time that they can put into things. But that's a great time of year where you could target a late January, mid to late February marathon, or 1 or 2 half marathons. And this is not to say that you stop swimming and that you stop riding, but you would really de-emphasize those at this time of year. If you normally only run 3 times a week in your triathlon training life, maybe you're up to running 4, 5, even 6 times a week. Maybe not every week, but for several weeks where you're really trying to break through. This is what we're going for. We're going for a breakthrough performance in our run. And then you can see how you do when you hit your half marathon or your marathon. And if you've put in the time, you will be sure to have results. Now, you have to be careful, right? If you're jumping from, let's say, 15 or 20 miles a week and you're building up to 30, 40, 50 miles a week, you need to do it a progression. You need to be aware of your body. You can't jump from 15 miles a week to 30 miles a week and things like that. So you need to build in some safety. You need to build in some recovery. But if you want to improve your running ability, this is one of the best ways to do it. For cycling, in my opinion, the spring is going to be the best time for this. Because the sun is coming back out, the weather is warming back up, and also, if you've listened to where I said you should be running more, this is going to be after you've done a run progression. So in the springtime, you can say, okay, I did my running, and now I want to emphasize the cycling. So this is where you would say, okay, instead of running both days on the weekend or running one day on the weekend and biking another day, I'm now going to bike both days. And you would de-emphasize your running. If you have a spring or an early summer event that you're training for, you can still take an approach like this and just de-emphasize the running slightly. So let's say on the weekend you ride 40 miles on Saturday and 50 or 60 on Sunday. One of those days you could still run 20 or 30 or 45 minutes off the bike at an easy, moderate pace. This is all about balancing things. So we're looking for improvements. In any of these versions, I wouldn't suggest you stop swimming or you stop running or you stop biking, but you're maybe down to 2 sessions a week. With running, maybe 3 sessions, where the third session is just a transition run off the bike. But the spring, you could take 2 or 3 months. You could say, okay, I'm really going to load up the bike miles. The extra time I have, I'm going to ride the bike instead of doing another sport. For swimming, for somebody who's been in the sport for a long time, my favorite time to do that is the summer. It's hot. Maybe you don't want to be out there running as much. Maybe you don't even want to be out there biking as much in the midst of summer, 100 degrees days. But that could be a great time to go out to the lake or to the ocean and get some open water training, to do an extra pool session every week, and let that carry you through the summertime. It's going to be great for your aerobic endurance. It's going to be great overall body conditioning, and it's a nice way to train more when the conditions are inhospitable to you. So let's go back through that. Running in the winter, cycling emphasis in the spring, swimming emphasis in the summer. These are for folks that want to work on one aspect of the sport. Now, if you are an athlete out there, or a triathlete out there says, okay, that's all great, but I am really focused on this half Ironman in May and an Ironman in September. What do I do? Another way that you can carry this through a season is to emphasize a certain sport within a week. So week 1, you could emphasize swimming. Week 2, you could emphasize running. And week 3, you could emphasize cycling. That's not again, we're not dropping swimming, we're not dropping running, we're not dropping cycling in the other weeks. We are emphasizing. So, for example, if you're training for a half Ironman, 70.3, week 1, if you're going to emphasize swimming, you do a third swim or a fourth swim and you drop a bike or you drop a run. In week 2, when you're emphasizing the running, maybe you don't even drop your bikes, but you cut down on your mileage on the bike and you run more. So you could run 30 or 45 minutes and then jump on the bike for 45 minutes. In the third week, when you're emphasizing the cycling, that would be a case where you could say, okay, this week I'm going to drop my long run and I'm going to add an extra long bike. So that's a simple switch out, right? And then you could still run 15 or 20 minutes off that bike so that you have continuity of running, right? So you're running Tuesday, Thursday, and then a short run on Saturday instead of a long run on Saturday. These are ways that you could build that through the entire season. And if you do that, week in and week out, or month in and month out, with the fourth week being a recovery week or a test week, that can also give you a lot of bang for your buck. So things to think about when you're trying to work on a single sport to improve your cycling, to improve your running, to improve your swimming. This didn't talk about strength training at all. You should be doing plyometrics, strength and conditioning, pretty much throughout the year, week in and week out. I hope this gives you some food for thought. This is something else that YouTube thinks you're going to like. This is us. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.